our comms panel opened, a voice said, "Ha ha, now give me 10 tons of your loot." I was stubborn and drunk and would not give this punk not 1 penny, so I blew it all. My lady was hoping for riches that night. When a rebuy, I was down on my knees. But she just walked away from that empty ship bay. She said, "You're not the man that I need." Oh, I turned to the dark side, I hardened my heart. Oh, yes, a mean pirate I'd be. I flew out of that station and into this song. Yes, I knew I had found what I'd be. I was flying my Cobra right out of Cremain with a hole full of Lave and brandy. I was swinging so deeply from my hunting mug, with the red smell of onion head round me. Maybe I'll find a girl and forgot how one night I put up with my pirating ways. But until then I'll drink from this old hunting mug, and I hope that I'll meet her one day. One day, Christmas Day, oh, I'll win back your heart with my gold and my charms. Oh, one day, Christmas Day, but until then I'll keep on my pirating ways. Well, hey. So I cooled down my Cobra and silent ran home. Sold all of my Lave and brandy, and some pink fast-neck gin just to give me a grin, and I pop off that onion head gladly. Maybe I'll find a girl and forget how one day I'll put up with my pirating ways. But until then I'll drink from this old hunting mug, and I hope that I'll meet her one day. Oh, one day, Christmas Day, oh, I'll win back your heart with my gold and my charms. Oh, one day, Christmas Day, but until then I'll keep on my pirating ways. Oh, one day, Christmas Day, oh, I'll win back your heart with my gold and my art. Oh, one day, Christmas Day, but until then I'll keep on with my pirating ways.
Silent running.
Galnet News Digest, 8th of July 3307. We read the news so you don't have to.
In this week's news, Federation in secession crisis.
One more week for Ida.
Thargoids come out to play.
Buckyballers finish last. There was a plan for what would happen if the Azaladchu Free lost. There was a plan for what would happen if the conflict was unresolved, or if the Azaladchu Free ended 1, 2 or 3 tiers ahead of the federal forces in the form of Nesh Incorporated. But there was no plan for the total and utter humiliation of the Federation at the hands of the tiny Azaladchu Free. Perhaps it wasn't quite as bad as the Federation losing by the full 8 tiers, which would most likely have meant even Sol choosing to leave the Federation. But it was pretty bad. In the light of the Federation's badly organised and poorly executed attempt at quelling the rebellion, not only the Azaladchu Free, but also the Coalition of Uteran, the LP 726-6 Free, and Gluskap Labour have declared their independence, and the Federation is left wondering what other once-loyal factions will choose to leave as a result of Hudson and Archer's disastrous attempts to use the 7 Martyrs bombings as an excuse to snoop on the people and organisations of the Federation. The humiliating defeat of Hudson at the hands of a tiny provincial faction must surely bring his future as president into doubt. At the very least, his incompetent second-in-command, Jerome Archer, must surely resign after this federal fiasco.
After an amazing effort over the past 2 weeks and following the expulsion of the marginal Thargoid presence in 4 systems where they seemed unshakable, Operation Ida has completed repairs in the Coalsack Nebula and the Pleiades, with all damaged starports in these regions brought fully back online today. The only remaining station requiring repair is the Kumo Council's outpost in the California Nebula. Operation Ida remains impartial to galactic politics and doesn't really mind if the damaged starport belongs to a bunch of space pirates who'd happily steal all the repair materials. Already 50% repaired thanks to the extensive use of fleet carriers to ship in materials, California Freeport will be fully operational for pirating and undercover trade by next week. And given the Kumo Council's newfound friends in the Dredger clan community, and with Sirius atmospherics and Sirius mining preparing to exploit the untapped alien resources in the region, it might be just in time for a new chapter in that out-of-the-way corner of the human bubble.
They may have been named after monsters that turned people to stone, that had snakes for hair and indeed many heads. But the Thargoid basilisks, medusas and hydras have been notable mainly by their absence in recent weeks. You could drop into as many non-human signal sources of level 6, 7, 8 and 9 as you liked, and you might see a few scouts, but the main event, the star of the show, the supervillain, the Thargoid Interceptor, would be nowhere to be seen. This was, as interspecies conflict negotiator Sally Morgan Moore noted, hindering Commander's attempts at xenological research. And she's worked her magic. As of late on Tuesday night, the heavy hitters of the Thargoid battle fleet are back in action, together with their full complement of Thargon swarms. So if you really want to spend 45 minutes being trounced in combat by a big ugly space spider flying a slimy green bioship, you once again have that option. It's up to you. Blaze your own trail. See the galaxy. Seek out new life and new civilizations. End up as a slimy lump of goo-covered space wreckage. And enjoy the Remlock ride home.
LaveCon may be over for another year, but the Buckyball race, the LaveCon Lockdown Challenge, runs until Sunday the 11th. It's a very silly race involving a keelback, an SRV, a ship launch fighter, and for those lucky enough to have an Odyssey permit, a 200-metre dash on foot. Buckyballers, famed for finishing last, are running their time trial over 9 days to make sure as many people as possible get the chance to clock slower times than Skur and Shea Blackwood. It's a threading the needle kind of race involving travelling through the 2 station entrance tunnels in your SRV, your SLF and your keelback, but thankfully not trekking through them on foot. So, if you fancy having a go, head on over to the LaveCon Lockdown Challenge and make sure you submit your evidence by midnight on Sunday. And remember, it's not winning that matters, it's taking part. And if you believe that, you believe anything. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to. And remember, it's not winning that matters, it's photoshopping that final time screenshot.
Thank you for downloading Escape Velocity. This series is supported by you. We have a fantastic community of patrons we'd love you to be a part of, and I wouldn't be able to make this series without their backing. To find out more, please visit patreon.com/Radio Theatre Workshop for behind-the-scenes info, series updates, and great rewards.
Amid the stars in the sky, humanity expands and thrives as it pushes back the boundaries of the universe. From the luxury of the core systems to the harsh worlds of the frontier, men still fight. Some fight for survival or greed. Some fight for a flag and others for retribution. But across the lonely darkness, they all share one aim: to be elite.
Escape Velocity, an Elite Dangerous audio adventure serial written and produced by Christopher Jarvis. Episode 5, The Dark Shadow.
I've been very patient, Thane, and I have little time. We can get you out of here in minutes. All we ask is that before you leave in your ship, you hand us the girl, for your safety and hers. We are not people you want to cross, 45.
I get told that a lot.
Well?
You can't trust them, Thane. I'm your only shot at getting us off this planet alive.
It's a deal.
Excellent decision, Commander. Dallas, switch on the cameras. Be seeing you.
Kerlek,
What do you want?
how quickly can you get us out of here?
Do you think he'll go through with it?
Hard to say. He's a tricksy son of a spacer.
Are you going to see the girl?
No, I don't want to risk a confrontation in this security area.
What should I do?
Hang on, Dallas. Go for message.
There you are, 23. Report.
Grand Matriarch Absalon.
Get on with it, child. Have you secured the girl?
Almost. The federal military have them under arrest.
Damn. How irritating. Have you made arrangements?
I've made a deal with the pilot. I don't know if he can be trusted. I was about to instruct Dallas to take the girl while I cover the landing bay in my Viper, in case the pilot is planning a double cross.
Dallas? Who is Dallas?
Agent 39, Eminence.
Ah, yes. A very capable unit. Change your plans.
Eminence?
Intelligence suggests that Alpha 23 is in the system.
Camilla.
You know what you must do. If you have the chance to face Alpha 23, you must deal with her yourself.
But I have so much work still to do.
Do you forget your duty, child? The purpose of your training, your very existence?
No, Grand Matriarch.
You are her dark shadow, and she is your guiding light. You must reach out to her and share your darkness.
I am her dark shadow. What must I do?
Pilot the Viper yourself. Leave 39 on the ground to cover the exchange. Dallas can handle the girl. You must deal with Camilla. Clear?
Clear.
Good girl.
What is it?
Orders from Mother. Head to the dock in case Thane does hand over the girl willingly. I'm going to my ship to cover the Merlin. When Thane does take off, with or without the girl, I'll destroy it.
As you wish.
Okay, sounds like they've gone. Kurlek, what's your plan for getting us out of here?
Does your cell have a keypad on the door?
Sure, but the encryption on this thing is impossible to break.
What we'll type in IML337.
Okay.
See? Told you I had a plan.
How did you get the code?
Well, that was the easy bit. I had the code off the guard within the first 10 minutes of being here. Turns out she's a big fan of my skills. I even made a sale on top of the codes.
Do you have May's code too?
Yeah, come on, I think her cell's down here. This one.
Right.
Thane, you came for me.
Well, I couldn't leave you behind.
Let me grab my shoes.
Are you going to tell her about...
No.
How did you get us out?
Kurlek had the door codes. Hang on a minute. If you had those, why didn't you just leave? What did you need me for?
Ah, well, that, you see, there's a bit of the escape I'm not really good at.
Yes, prisoner. You still have to pass the guard.
Oh. That would be you, I suppose.
I don't want to lose my job for letting you get away, so I need you to make this look good.
What do you mean, look good?
That's a good start, prisoner. Bruises on my fist showed that I tried hard to stop you.
Thane!
Best leave them to it, sweetheart. We need to get that service panel open.
Come on, prisoner. At least try and hit me back.
But...
They'll be fine, I promise. Right, now where in my artificial leg did I stash that blowtorch?
Come on, how is it supposed to look like I failed to stop you escape? If you can't even land one punch?
I'm not exactly trained in hand-to-hand fighting, you know. If I was in my ship, this would be a very different story. Stop! Wait. Give me a sec.
Okay, prisoner. Let's try this differently. How about
As they say on the frontier, if you're in a fair fight, you're doing it wrong. Boy, that spacing witch can punch.
Did she hurt you?
Ignore him. I think he's in love. I've never seen him smile this much.
I'll smile you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could interrupt your arguing just for a moment. The door is open. After you.
Where are we?
I can't tell. I'm not used to the layout of Imperial spaceports.
We should be somewhere near the viewing gallery.
Sounds like someone has figured out we're trying to leave.
We should go that way.
Okay, come on.
Down here.
Wait, look out!
Stop! Citizens! You are under arrest for crimes against the Federation.
Quick, back this way.
All right.
Hold prisoners. You will stop there and submit to Imperial security.
What now?
Here, duck behind this counter.
Halt! Federal soldiers, you withdraw and leave the prisoners to us.
Negative, Imperial. These citizens are guilty of federal crimes and will be released into our custody.
In the matter of spaceport security, we have jurisdiction, and we will deal with these prisoners for the crime of breaking detention.
What do we do now, Sarge? Can't risk an incident with the Imperial, son. Back off. Slowly.
Unit, we mustn't allow a diplomatic incident to occur. Lower weapons and withdraw.
Okay, what in space just happened?
The soldiers left. All of them.
Let me get this straight. The Imperial and Federal security teams both backed out of arresting us because they couldn't have any direct dealings with each other.
It happens all the time in these border systems. The Federation don't want to get into a scrap with us.
The war here is so cold that they daren't even fire a gun within a mile of each other.
Isn't it the same in the frontier?
No. We just start shooting and whoever's left at the end gets the bounty.
Welcome to civilization. Come on, lad, let's get to the docking bays before somebody changes their mind. Is that your ship?
Yeah.
Isn't that a Merlin? That's a bit new and fancy for you, isn't it?
Yeah, she's my pride and joy. Can we get on, please?
Where did you get it?
Maybe later. Let's go.
They're coming after us.
Space! They're shooting. If one of those shots hits the docking bay seal, we're in trouble. Have you still got that remlock?
Yeah.
Keep hold of it and run. Come on, run!
We made it.
Oh, this is a nice ship. A very nice ship. Above more the damage.
Not now.
They're still shooting out there. Can they damage the ship?
Those rifles shouldn't scratch the armour. Orbital traffic control. This is Merlin attack fighter, escape velocity. Registration Echo Victor 223. Requesting takeoff clearance.
Negative EV223. Our records indicate that you have unresolved police fines.
Space! We can't get out.
Leave it to me. Is that Jason? Are you still enjoying those counterfeit dream sequences I sold you? The legal ones are really expensive, aren't they?
Clearance granted, Commander. Seal airlocks and prepare for launch.
Thank you, OTC.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
I always say it pays to have a good memory.
New radar contact.
Ma'am, sensors indicate Thane's ship is lifting off. Do you want to open fire?
No, wait. I want to talk to him. I want to be sure he's on that ship, and I want him to know that it's me who kills him. Open a channel.
Hailing craft.
Hello? Hello? Who's this? It's not really a good time.
Hello, Thane.
Camilla, you sound... well...
Thank you, honey. And thank you for confirming you're on your ship.
Wait, listen, it wasn't my fault. The police picked me up as soon as I got here.
How good is your memory, Commander Thane? If you think back, you'll recall I said that if anything happened to the shipment, it would be bad news for you.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be bad news for you, I'm afraid. If it's any consolation, I hope you survive the destruction of your ship.
Really? Why?
Because then we can rescue you, and I can finish the job with a knife. Pilot, assign me the firing controls. Come round for an attack.
That went well, considering.
Durand?
What's happening down there, Dallas?
Thane betrayed us. He escaped, grabbed the girl, and got to his ship. You should see him on your scanner.
Hang on. Got it. His ship is just leaving the atmosphere.
Are you going to take him out?
Just watch me. Wait a minute. There's another ship angling around for an attack vector.
Incoming! Hold on!
Not this again.
Sorry, kid. Getting shot at is almost a daily part of space travel.
And that's why I stay on the ground.
Can you get him out of here? Take him to the cargo bay or something.
Can't you hyperspace out?
We're too close to the planet. Believe you me, as soon as the drive spins up, we are out of here.
Where do we go? We've got the Federation and the Empire after us.
We might... No, we can't.
What? What are you thinking?
I didn't want to have to admit it, but we might have to run to the frontier.
Wait, I can't go back there.
Yeah, you and me both. But I'm running out of choices here.
Listen,
May?
I think... Take us into the Empire.
What? Are you insane?
Take me to my father. He can help.
We've got half the galaxy after us. What can your father do?
Well, he is a senator.
Say that again?
My father is an Imperial senator. His name is Tobias Havelock.
You'd better not be joking.
Of course I'm not joking. I want to go home.
And you leave it until now to mention it?
I've been trying to tell you my father can help for ages, but you never listen.
All right, punch it into the computer while I keep us alive. Where are we going?
My father was posted to Fasis.
The naval shipyard. You have to be kidding.
All right, do it.
How's it going, Lorand? Is Thane destroyed yet?
No. Whoever is attacking him is making a mess of it. I was hoping to sit back and watch someone else destroy them, but at this rate he'll get away.
Do something!
I'm moving in to attack.
Incoming priority message.
Open channel.
Who the hell is this? This is my kill. Back off!
That voice.
Lorand? That sounds like...
It's Alpha 23. She's here. Her voice.
Is it time? Do you feel it?
I feel it. Her voice is drawing me. I am her dark shadow.
Dark shadow? What the hell are you talking about? Get off my target or I'll kill you too.
I am the dark shadow, and she is the guiding light. I share with her my darkness.
Thane, another craft is moving in to attack Camilla.
Good. I'll take all the help I can get.
Ma'am, that other craft is moving to attack us. What? How dare they? I will prize the flesh from her bones. Destroy it! I can't get a good hit. That Viper's loaded with shield. Destroy her, damn you! Destroy her! I can't! She's on a collision course. She's going to ram us. No!
I share my darkness with you.
The other ship just rammed them.
Those Vipers pack one hell of a punch.
Are they down?
According to the scanner, the Viper is drifting. It's powerless.
And the Constrictor? Camilla?
It's a big wreck, but... No. There's a hole punched right through it.
Any Remlock alarms?
No. Anybody on board must be dead by now. There's a single escape pod in the wreckage.
Not our problem. Let's get out of here. Let's go and find your father.
Are you okay? I found your pod drifting in the wreckage of that battle.
This ship. What kind of ship is it?
This is my Cobra Mark III. It may look a bit retro, but you'll be perfectly safe.
That'll do just fine. I'll take it. I'm gonna find you, Thane. I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna kill you twice.
In that episode of Escape Velocity, Amy Timms played May, Christopher Jarvis, Thane, Liam Macaulay, Dallas, Rebecca Keeves, Lorand, Alan Wales played Kurlek, Janet Westwood-Wilson, Camilla, Anne Collins, Avsalan, Katie Howes, Pilot, John Stabler, Orbital Traffic Control, with Verity Croft as the voice of the computer. Chris Foster-Forrester was himself. Escape Velocity was written and produced by Christopher Jarvis, with additional music by Alan Stroud, and is a Radio Theatre Workshop production. This work contains non-law fiction set in the Elite Dangerous galaxy. Elite Dangerous is copyright Frontier Developments plc. For more information, please visit escapevelocity.laveradio.com.
G'day, Commanders. When the munchies take a hold and the Starscape Vista appears before you, what better time? Here is Space and Biscuits by 12 Strings Inc., available on SoundCloud and presented to you via Lave Radio. Commander Strings out.
Landing gear retracted.
The wings and the revive, it would the small ship to big. It's the first past the post. Everybody's lined up, staring at the slot gap, smiling at those guys with the Top Gun figures on. Pitchfork waving at the neutron thruster. Boy boosted the max as we skittle off the toaster rack. Turn, maybe turn before you even think about it. Gotta be slick like an oil tank spewing it. We got the speed to lead. We're racing out the galaxy. Up on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying high. We got the speed need, we're racing around the galaxy. Up on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying waiting for the charge lines, even when you're sleeping in your bed. In your head, all you see is the raceway turning, pulling on that boost finger in your dreams. Getting in the flow like a neutron, but boy, you know they're gonna hit you if you get in their way. Spin like a record, baby, FAI% you crazy. This is the whip crack and you're slow ass. We got the speed need, we're racing around the galaxy. Hop on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying high. Jump in the game that's a Sandy Ring Raceway. Lose an ego as a Lano too. The Farseer Classic makes you feel quite tragic, but you finally get that feeling, yeah, you chasing on the back at the Squirrel Nest Bar, or racing to the front of Corrado too. You set the pace at the Kuiper Raceway, everybody talking about you. We got the speed need, we're racing around the galaxy. I'm on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying high. We got the speed need, we're racing around the galaxy. I'm on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying.
Hi, Commander Kumar the Far here, and you're listening to Lave Radio. Up next is a track that I wrote based on a true story. It's called Pirates Took My Spaceship. Now, if you want to listen to more stuff that I've written, you can find that at soundcloud.com/KUMARTHEFFAR-1. Oh crap, the back!
Eddie Lee Wise here. Our family-run business looks after all your sartorial needs. Whether you need something to turn your pink python purple, or you want to wrap your buns up in a nice tight flight suit, my husband Ken can sort you right out. He's an expert at inside leg, and my wife Barb's is a whiz with a sewing machine. Bespoke tarting for you and your ship. Visit Eddie and Sons, plus me daughters, at Lave Station. Right, sir. Cuff, please.
The Lave Radio Project was our last best hope for news. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long, located in neutral territory. A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads, community members and developers. A shining beacon in space, all alone on a Tuesday night. It was the dawn of the 3rd chapter of Elite. The year's space legs came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Lavian stations. The year is 3307. The name of the place? Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 349 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, otherwise known as Colin Ford. And joining me in the orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Aid Levice, otherwise known as Ben Moss Woodward.
It's all yellow!
Oh. Okay. We have our our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
And we also have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit.
Hello.
Hello. Now, if you wish, you can join us live. Where are you hanging out around Lave Station, Ben?
I am making my way to Lave Station as we speak, so I am doing a quick pop-off at Jameson Memorial, so please don't gank me.
Cool. And right, but if you can't join us live, you can always, if you can't join us in-game, you can join the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live, click on the live chat, or go to Facebook, or go to YouTube, where you should be live there. So, let's have a run around the team. It's been a while, since we've done a normal episode, really. So we'll start with Commander Psychit. Have you been for, a week and a bit?
A week and a bit. I've been good. I've been good. We it just like not doing a lot, playing games, the usual, playing computer games and then playing some more computer games, occasionally editing some videos, that kind of thing. All very sedentary. I sat in front of my computer. We did, however, today, which was very, very nice. Today is the anniversary of my base in Elite Dangerous is called Micah's Rest, and it's named after a cat that basically saved my life, and then she passed away, and it's a long story, and I've cried about it far too many times today. But we went and visited Micah's Rest today and had a little moment, and it was really, really nice. And I'm just really, really grateful for Frontier for giving me the opportunity to have something like that in the game that I can go and remember her by is very sweet. And I had a bit of an emotional day, but I'm fine now.
Fine now. At least that's something. Ben, what have you been up to for the last bit?
So for the last bit, I think the most exciting thing that I've done is probably I've actually gone to the cinema, I've gone to a restaurant, and I've eaten a meal in a restaurant. I went to see Black Widow over the weekend with my family. and then went out for dinner at the one of the restaurants in the cinema area. And I was like, you know what? I haven't had ribs or a proper steak in over a year. So I wind up getting like this absolutely mentally massive mixed grill. I ate every bit of it and it was delicious. I was just like, I haven't had this for so long. It's so good. It's so good. And I had the first beer I've had in probably almost as long. And that was good too.
Well, a beer that's not out of a bottle, you mean?
As a rule of thumb, I don't drink beer out of bottles. You know, it's kind of draft or desperation for me.
Draft or desperation. Fair enough. Commander Shan, are you back off holiday, or are you still on holiday?
I'm off work on holiday, but we are embarking on day trips rather than our long run. So basically, from last Saturday, we drove to the Cotswolds, saw some friends there on the Saturday, stayed overnight at a really nice hotel at Kidderminster, then drove from Kidderminster up to Gretna Green, where we did the show from on the Sunday. And then, I tell you what, Scotland is a weird place now.
Okay.
Well, we went instead of just going from Gretna Green across to Newcastle on the main road, we decided to go up into the borders and then round through Bamburgh Castle and that way. And on the way, we passed through Selkirk, which was a lovely little town. And however, everything was shut. It was like England used to be when we had proper lockdown last year. And it was so strange coming from, a wide open place with shops open and generally sort of back to normal, to going back to a place in complete lockdown. And then went across to Kelso, which I wanted to go to because it was the name of the chief surgeon in Scrubs. But anyway, went to Kelso, which was a bit more open. And then from Kelso to Bamburgh Castle, and got really lucky there actually because we saw a pod of dolphins jumping and playing around just off the beach. So that was really cool. Saw Mrs. Shan's aunt and uncle in Sheffield, then York, and then back again. So yeah, it was quite a trek really. And we arrived back on Thursday, I think it was. We arrived back from that 900 and something mile trek.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you went via Hoyk, did you? While you were going through the borders?
We went through, Kelso was the last place we stopped at, but then before Bamburgh Castle. We went to a place, I've forgotten the name now, it's the famous battle. Mrs. Shan's ancestor got knighted there. No, it wasn't Bannockburn, it began with F.
That's up in Stirling.
I'm trying to think of more famous battles that, that have taken place in Bannockburn's like the most famous one.
Yeah, but there's nowhere near the
the only one we ever won.
anyway, so yeah, this particular battle, it was when the King James, I think it was, of Scotland got killed. And her ancestor was knighted there for chopping up lots of Scots people.
It does seem that Flodden Field does seem to be the...
That's the place, yes. Flodden, yes.
Thanks to Carumba and Little Big Yin for re-educating me on the story of Scotland, which is this horrible little blue book which I had memorised when I was a kid.
Yes, it was Mr. Shan's ancestor was knighted there.
I don't know. I am deeming this offensive, and I think I should ban you.
Oh, don't start. No, it was really interesting because he fought and chopped up lots of Scots people.
Yeah, that's offensive as a Scots person.
Not in the 1500s. It was seen as good sport then. But anyway, he was 64.
Bear that one in mind.
He was 64 when he fought in this battle and got knighted for. So it just shows
that is actually.
Yeah, which for the 1500s was quite old, I think. Yeah. But anyway, he unfortunately did die of his wounds some 3 months later, so they kind of got their revenge in the end. Anyway, so yeah, it was really strange going to going to Flodden, and they had a quite good map there, which outlined the ebb and flow of the battle, so you could kind of imagine it. And it just looked like a field with hills, and it was really hard to see where the battle was. But yeah, so that's where we went. So yes, we had a history lesson as well as celebrating Mr. Shan's ancestor.
Excellent. Let's see what I've been up to for the last week or so. Basically, I've got a crunch happening at work, which basically for those of you who are not in the IT industry, it means basically I've got to work a lot to make sure a product comes out in time. It happens. Nothing that can be done about it.
You're working at the Frontier, basically, yeah.
No. To say the truth, you and I have had this discussion before about game developers and normal developers, and I'm sorry.
Not as bad as that.
Yeah, I'm having seen some games companies or interviewed for some games companies. I'm glad that I'm not a game developer because the culture and the crunch is something else.
Yeah, you and me both, mate.
Isn't the crunch permanent in games companies? Pretty much.
You normally end up with, I think, in a 3-year project. I reckon you end up with 6 months of easy time or normal time, as we call it, or then it's 2.5 years of crunch.
Yeah, but also the turnaround in staff for games company, because my cousin did some of the background art for Alien Isolation, and he said the turnaround for staff is tremendous at games companies. A, because of the crunch, and B, what happens is they hire you for a project, and then when the project goes, you go usually, unless you're particularly useful or skilled. So there's an enormous turnaround.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is one. Just to turn it quickly back to Frontier, that's one thing that they normally don't do. They try and hang on to people, don't they?
Well, there was a number of people who've been there for a good amount of years. Now, what we don't know is what happened to Sandro Samarco and people like that. They got moved on to, in quotes, mysterious projects.
Yeah, but they're still at Frontier.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we can only assume so, and then they weren't buried under the patio of the new Frontier building.
Well, maybe it was true that Sandro did get eaten by a dinosaur.
I thought that was Michael Brooks, because wasn't he on this stage at Frexpo to talk about Jurassic Park?
Yeah, he was on but there was a suspicious in the first Jurassic Park trailer. The first person to get chomped looked suspiciously like Sandro Samarco. But we digress.
I'll have to start them up again. I haven't noticed that.
Anyway, yeah, we've got a suggestion. Apparently, people are saying that they've got similar issues in government departments at the moment. I know your pain because it's a government department kind of that I'm putting things in for. Right, in other news or development news rather. Well, obviously, because we've been away last Tuesday, we missed the Super Cruise news, and we had the Super Cruise news today. They didn't touch on much in today's Super Cruise news. It was mostly going over a lot of the Commander Creations stuff that came out on Friday, which was a lot of 3D printed stuff. Did anybody else notice that? It seemed to be
And Lego.
Yeah, models effectively.
Yeah.
And also including a rather nice demonstration of how to use 3D printed models in a most constructive way. Chan.
I was about to say with the Lego. I mean, the other thing I did while I was on holiday is I brought the Lego International Space Station as a bit of a thing, which is really cool. But anyway, with Lego, isn't there a program that you can scan an image and it turns it into a parts list for Lego to make? Or am I dreaming?
I do know that
used to be.
I know that there is a program which will, if you put a 3D CAD design in, it will do that. In fact, I'm sure that that's one of the things that this guy who's been doing the Orca I think it was the Orca this week that
It was, yeah.
yeah, he came up with that, which to tell you the truth is really, really nice. But apparently is very expensive because you've got to buy the model, the Lego pieces specifically.
So you can't just go to Legoland and like pick them off models or anything.
No, they've worked out all the bits that you need. It's just that you've got to then go out and buy all those bits, and buying specific Lego bricks is quite expensive.
I wish that Lego offered a reasonable service for I need this Plix.
Well, proper Legos really expensive as well, isn't it? Because
not really.
What the full size Star Destroyer at £600?
Yeah, and I think probably about £400 of that is because of the Star Wars license. You look at things that are Lego's own IPs, and they are so much less expensive than IP-based products.
Also, the Lego Star Destroyer is massive.
That too.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of bits to it.
Yeah, you can forget your Lego Death Star at that point. This is unbelievable. Let me guess. Does it have some unique minifigures that are only available using?
Oh yes.
Oh, they know how to get that extra pound out of you, don't you?
I mean, you say that. I mean, it is pretty big, but I've got some model kits that are as expensive.
You've got bigger.
No, bigger ones. It's just interesting. I think it's a rarity value because when they first came out, I looked at buying 2 Star Destroyers, one to make and one to keep, factoring in that if I kept the one to keep long enough, it would pay for both of them.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same as rationale as people buying 2 Xbox X's at the moment, holding on to one and using one, and then selling it. Which effectively, I think at the moment, will give you a free Xbox.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with Katiana, who's saying, give me Mega Bloks any day of the week. And my experience of non-Lego Lego, as it were, is cheap and nasty. Like the Lego men just feel horrible. The bricks don't seem to fit together properly. Cheap. I don't know what they do differently and how they can cock it up so much, but they do.
Eldest Minishan may or may not have acquired some Lepin models.
Oh yeah,
which they go together all right, but the packaging is just like.
I don't care about the packaging. It's the quality of the bricks.
Oh, the quality, they make up a proper model and stuff like that. But I just I just told him off when he may or may not have got it, saying, look, the Lego people spent years and years and years designing this and factoring all the bits, and you're not rewarding them for their work.
Anyway, we will say that.
Welcome to Lego Radio.
Yeah, Beefist1213 is the commander who does all these Lego ships, and he's put all his builds online. So if you want to build your own Lego ship, you can check them out. We will find the details and put them in the show notes. And I must admit, I am jealous of Stealthiest, who managed to put a 3D printed Python in his PC, and the 3D printed Coriolis station. That was fantastic.
Is that the one that opens up?
Yeah.
You can see the stuff inside. That's amazing. He's done such a good job with that. It's so good.
I mean, I'm trying to work out what is it actually made out of, because it looks metallic. What was that, Sean?
Presumably it's made out of metallic. It's either painted metallic, isn't it? Normal Lego bricks, and you'd paint them. You'd paint them.
I didn't think that was Lego, was it? I thought it was a 3D print for the Coriolis.
Yeah, the 3D print.
You still paint them. You still paint it. You'd use something like AK Extreme Metals or something to get the the paint.
So that's effectively what they covered, apart from one thing that we'll be discussing in depth later. Now, last Tuesday's stream, Super Cruise 40, that did cover a couple of the issues that people have been having with Odyssey. However, an interesting thread came out of that, which went along the lines of, the title was, latest stream has more dislikes than likes. F death, are you listening? Ben, you brought this up. Did you monitor that thread?
Oh, I did about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I did. It was interesting, and I'm trying to remember what was being said. I did notice that on today's thread, at least on today's Super Cruise news, it was also at least 50-50, though I haven't checked what the most recent numbers are. If I remember correctly, I think there was some responses from Sally and people like that, basically saying, yes, we are listening. And I can't remember what it was, though, that I was going to... If there was a point I was going to make about it, I can't remember what it was. I just remember noticing it and thinking, there's some good discussion going on there.
Yeah, it was. Shan, go on.
Well, I wanted to say that before we get into the more serious parts of the show, I am taking a leaf out of football this week. I am a Shan of two halves. I am going to be like a angel Shan. I'm going to be like a devil Shan. So I won't be completely negative. I'm going to try and present a balanced, thoughtful view rather than being reactionary and whatnot. So I'm trying to balance. So
can we take a thing out of football and give you red cards?
No.
Psych it.
No penalties either.
Ben covered what I was going to say. It's fine.
Sorry, psych it.
And no penalties either. We've all had enough penalties.
I love the penalties. I thought they were great.
It's just a shame that they had to play for that long before it got to them.
Well, you just have the penalty shootout and then go home after 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the most
bullshit. All it's going to be, they just present 5 young men ready to kick a ball at goal. Saves all the rigmarole from the beginning. It'll be over in 5 minutes. Job done. I'll down the pub.
I think you're actually onto something there, Psychit.
Yeah, it's going to be a thing. You wait for it. It'll be a thing.
I like this idea.
Right. Moving on from Lave Radio Soccer's section. Right. Yeah, we've already got suggestions that the people should have been playing musical chairs. Any other suggestions for how that could have been resolved?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Dodgeball would. Could you imagine if they had British Bulldogs going up there?
Oh my god! I'm on board.
That would be so awesome. I'd love that.
Isn't British Bulldogs banned in the playground?
Only from everything's banned in playgrounds.
Yeah, you can't smoke anymore as well. What's life come to?
Not even break bunkers.
It's spitting. No, right. Anyway, right. Moving on from the Super Cruise news. On Thursday, Arth put an announcement on about a statement of harassment on the Frontier forums. Now, this came practically out of nowhere because if there has been harassment, in my view, on the forums anyway, it must have, the mods have been doing a good job of hiding it, or basically there's been a lot of nasty private messages flying about. Their statement basically says that they're not going to stand for personal attacks on either the developers or the CMs or going forward. And before, there used to be a point system where people would serve out time not being allowed access to the forums, and now they're just going straight for a blanket ban. So Ben, do you want to go first on this one?
Might be better if I go last on this one, I think.
Fair enough. Shan.
Well, when I saw this, I think it popped up when I was still away, and my first reaction is, what? But then I kind of did some more digging around and discovered that actually what Frontier were doing is they were simply restating existing policy for the forums. And that, because when I first read it, I thought, well, hang on a minute, are Frontier taking the decision away from the moderation team and disempowering them and, becoming the Stasi and all that sort of stuff. But what they're actually saying, they're restating an already existing policy. And that made me feel better about it, to be fair. It's just, but I did feel the wording was perhaps a bit too, I won't say panic inducing, but it probably put in such a way as it didn't read like it was restating existing policy. It read like it was creating a new policy.
Yeah, I mean, it was said from the exact phrase, which I think got a lot of people well, it basically said, from this point forward, posts that attack, insult, accuse, or are deemed harmful towards individual members of staff will result in a permanent ban from the channels they're posted on. That's forums, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. This includes, but is not limited to, private messages to the personal social accounts of staff members. Remember, going forward, that those you are addressing are real people, and frustrations surrounding a video game are not a justifiable reason to attack another person's mental health and well-being. Now, Psych it.
I read the post. I tweeted out the post. Lots of people responded. Some people with incredibly terrible takes. One person who has since now been banned from Twitter because of his incredibly terrible takes and vitriol. And my personal opinion of the whole thing that's gone on is, if your first reaction to saying, "Oh, please don't be an arsehole," basically, and we're going to we'd like you to be nice to people or face the consequences. If your immediate response is, "I want to be able to say whatever the hell I want without consequence," then that just makes you a garbage person. And I saw quite a lot of that.
Yeah, I've actually put this. A lot of people seem to have taken it as some way that to use as an excuse to crack down on unfavorable opinions about the present situation. And from what I've seen, is that I don't feel that they are cracking down on people with unfavorable opinions. Otherwise, the forums would be dead.
Yeah.
To be honest.
The other thing that I would say is that I didn't watch Super Cruise News because I was trying to complete the stupid amount of missions that I took, so I was still streaming at the time. But I had people who were in both of my chats, and they, my very good stalwart mod who is there all the time, said that he was looking through the chat and the only things that he saw being deleted from the chat was the kind of stuff that he would have deleted from my chat. And, just don't be an arsehole. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, it is more along Will Wheaton's law that
yes, absolutely.
That is important when it comes to this kind of thing. So I guess that brings us round to Ben. Now you had a couple of things to say about this, didn't you?
Yeah, so I'll preface this by saying I am 100% believer in don't be a dick and nobody's got a right to harass anyone. I think that one of the reasons this probably came about is because Dr. Ross received a bunch of nasty messages on their Twitter. And who knows what's going on the forums. I know, I'm friends with a bunch of the mods, and I know that they are very, very, very active. My concern is this is giving a volunteer moderator the ability to shut anybody up on the forums, potentially without recourse. And I wanted to ask Arthur, what can be done about this? If I feel I've been said something, and I feel I've been unfairly dealt with, how do I, how do I appeal to this?
Yeah.
And Paul Crowther very quickly responded with, you can appeal by sending an email to community@frontier.co.uk. And as far as I was concerned, that was my main concerns dealt with. Although, and as I've said, I am friends with a bunch of the mods, but I also know that the mods are only human. And if person X, who has been hacking moderator Y off, moderator Y is going to read 90% of anything person X says in a negative light. And so there might be more of a potential to go and moderate them, potentially unjustifiably. And that was my chief concern. There was
So
also
go on. No, carry on.
I also had an element of concern, so I don't think I'm not seeing it happening, and I didn't really think it would happen. But if, for sake of argument, the mods did go on a power trip, then it would turn the forums into an echo chamber of everybody either being too scared to ask any questions or just being a bunch of yes men. And that's not going to be good or helpful for Frontier either. Now, we've not seen any evidence of that happening, and I don't think it will happen. I think that's great. And I think the ability to send an email to community@frontier.co.uk on the assumption that the community managers deal with it in a timely fashion, that's great too. I have had one concern that apparently under the new forums, when you're banned from everything, including the ability to send PMs on the forum. So you have to
send an email, as you've just said.
You have to send an email, whereas you used to be able to send a PM to ARF or something like that.
Yeah.
So Ben, I don't see what the problem is. So they can still send an email, though, right? There's not.
They can send an email.
Okay, cool.
And that's fine on the assumption that Frontier deal with it in a timely fashion.
It is a question because I know that I've sent emails to community before, and the problem is they're snowed under. I don't know what the response time is, to be honest. So, yeah. The main point that you've got, Ben, is that you've got no problem with people being banned for being insulting.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I go and call somebody a dick or whatever, I would expect to be banned, and that would be only right.
Yeah, the thing is that you think that there is too much leeway that could lead to people being banned unfairly.
Yeah, there is potential leeway. There is potential for abuse. I was going to. How is this going to be dealt with on Facebook and Twitter? I don't know, or YouTube for that matter. I mean, I guess you just ban somebody from the YouTube or from talking on Frontier's YouTube, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't stop them people complaining on or personally attacking people on Reddit or on any other channel, to be honest.
It doesn't. There is... I think one of the key reasons I think why this has also been done is, from speaking to two mods who are my friends, they've had people who have gone off and, gotten a 30-day infraction for saying something. They've come right back in again, said something equally objectionable, and it's not a 30-day infraction.
Okay.
And, it's like, well, just stop being, just ban them already. And I can understand the whole call to instaban.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I would have maybe liked to have seen instead of this is only a Frontier CM can do the insta-banning. The moderator can maybe recommend somebody for insta-ban, but only a CM could do it, or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. Shan, now you have an update from Obsidian Ant on something similar to this, haven't you?
Yes. Earlier on today, a message went out purporting to be from Obsidian Ant. I won't read it out, but basically the message said that people had been banned in game from the stuff played on YouTube and Twitch, and he was disappointed, etc. Just want to say that this was a forged or faked message, and Obsidian Ant did not post it at all. So if you see this particular post, and it's obvious which one it is because it hasn't got a tick next to it, it is not from Obsidian Ant. So please don't stomp on the ant for the post because it wasn't him.
Was this post put up on the forums then?
I believe it went out on Twitter.
Today's Super Cruise News live streams, Shan.
Yeah, it was on that. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
just say, nothing. It didn't have a tick next to it, so it wasn't from the ant.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice.
One of the things I've seen on the forums, and a lot of people are now taking the thing of, I'll probably get banned for this, but ... And I must admit, I'm there thinking, yeah, you might have a problem with the game, and you might make a legitimate complaint about the game, but as you have not insulted any of the staff members, you're not going to get banned for that. I mean, Sally did post a couple of things of the stuff that they have had to deal with, which, is quite reprehensible, rather. Let me pronounce that correctly. But yeah, I think some people have just taken this too far the other way. Anyway, so I think we will leave the harassment behind and move on to I think the next thing is the big announcement that happened on Monday. I think this is the closest thing that we've had for a big announcement for a while, and it was from David Braben himself, and we've got Beetlejuice to read out the statement. So if Commander Ventura could be so kind.
Greetings, Commanders. With the release of Update 5 on the 1st of July, plus a few smaller server-side updates since, and Update 6 currently in development, I wanted to take a moment of your time to talk about the next steps for Elite Dangerous. We are aware and fully accept the frustration that many of our players have had with their experience of Elite Dangerous Odyssey. The community have spoken. We have heard the feedback clearly, and we will act on that feedback. As you may remember in our recent development article, the significant amount of updates and development effort that's been done to fix and improve issues since the launch of Odyssey has meant work on our console release has not progressed as quickly as we'd hoped. What's more, we can see that the strides we've made through the last 5 major updates are positive, but we must continue on with this progress to give the experience that you and we expect on PC. With those things in mind, we spent a lot of time discussing and re-evaluating our previous plans, and we have made the decision to prioritise the core PC experience for Elite Dangerous. Ultimately, we believe it is right to focus our efforts on the core Elite Dangerous Odyssey for the platforms that we have released on, before opening up to more. We know that the work that we do to improve players' experiences of Elite Dangerous Odyssey on PC will benefit other platforms in the future. But the dates and details of the console platforms are going to change. We do not want to rush into confirming any dates or changes this has on our console release, as we must remain fully focused on the core Elite experience. Only when we feel that the foundation of the PC release is solid will we be able to relay our console roadmap on top. Elite Dangerous Odyssey is an important step on a complicated journey, and we must get this right before we can consider moving onto these new platforms. So, what does this actually mean for Elite Dangerous and Elite Dangerous Odyssey? It means that we will see more game updates over the coming months. We will continue to work through Issue Tracker, fix bugs and improve performance, but we will also be able to explore and add additional features, content and improvements into the game. We will continue to give open monthly development updates where we discuss work in progress content, challenges, the issue tracker and more. We know that the previous levels of detail for the roadmap and developer update have not met expectations, but we're grateful for your patience while we shift and adjust plans in the face of such clear feedback. Please remember that our team here at Frontier are working hard to support the game and our community. Behind every bug fix, design decision and community post is a person who cares a lot about giving our players best possible experience. I would ask that everyone remains calm and respectful when sharing their thoughts and feedback. We all have the same goal and we will get there together. Please bear with us. 07 Commanders.
So there we have the words from David Braben. And we know from Arth that he actually doesn't have it filtered. He puts it out as it is, and maybe as somebody just make sure that it glances out, but it comes straight from him. So the upshot of all this, it does seem that they're going to start doing more PC updates, more PC patches, but because of that, the console versions are going to be set back even further. We'll go around and get some initial reactions from the team. Let's try with Shan.
Yes, fair and balanced, Shan, here. So the Angel, Shan, read through this and said, great, we've finally got some response from David Braben, and they're finally taking things seriously enough to delay the console release to try and fix what's happening with Odyssey. So that part of Shan gave a thumbs up. The evil Shan read it as a lot of marketing speak and wondered if the real reason why they delayed the console release was because they couldn't get it past the certification tests. So be which Shan you like, but it was good to get a response anyway.
Okay. Ben. Oh no, Psykit. Sorry.
In response to what Shan said, just to clarify, this is exactly what you wanted and you're still not satisfied.
No, sorry, I'm not going into this side. I wanted to leave that side behind. If you want to talk about what I believe that means, please feel free to take it off because it will take a while. But
I'm good.
What I say in this area, I'm an expert in real life, okay, and I'm more than happy to spend time with people doing this, but it's not what I wanted to happen for that. It's good. It's he's posted. It's good. He's posted. That's a half a thumb up, but it's not what I was talking about. Two different things. Anyway,
okay,
next.
Sure, perfect. I was really happy with it. I thought it was honest, and it was what a lot of the community needed to hear. In my opinion, I spoke to console players who were super happy about the situation as well. Mm-hmm. So I didn't speak to like I'm not gonna for 1 second say that I speak for the whole community. You know I'm never going to say that. But I spoke to a good handful of people who from different console and like PC players who, while disappointed that we weren't going to be able to play together, think that it's a much more pragmatic approach to see more people, more time devoted into making it a much more stable, a stable program and working for console and taking the time that they need rather than rushing through. And I want to say a sprint, but I've probably got that entirely wrong. I'm only married to a developer. Sorry. But yeah, I was super chuffed to see that there was stuff that was actually addressed, and that console release date was no longer sort of hanging in the ether. Although I have still seen people going into different chats going, have we had any update on when the console release date is going to be? Like as recently as today, and it's just like, just read all the things, please.
Yeah. Shan, do you want to go back to this?
What I was about to ask is that it was always understood that when the console release came, Horizons would be phased out. So does that mean with the delay to the console release, we will get Horizons for a bit longer? Do we
I didn't think it was going to be phased out.
I didn't think it was going to get phased out. For Horizons, they were going to replace the planetary tech in Horizons with the latest stuff, but everything you can do.
I thought they were not going to parallel run it. I thought they because there's two universes, isn't there, effectively that are linked, because Horizons players can't instance with Odyssey players and vice versa.
Yeah,
and the interfaces and UI and stuff in Horizons is as it is in Horizons.
Yes,
and it was my understanding that when the console came along,
Yep.
all the UI and all that Horizon stuff would go away and be replaced by a unified Odyssey interface.
Yeah, but you still have the Horizon. Yeah, this is they're not getting Odyssey. They're getting the bits of Horizons which have been Odyssey-ified. Try saying that without any beer. So effectively, Horizons is being upgraded to the same level as Odyssey, so everyone can play together.
So is that happening? I'm just watching chat. So is that now going away, or is that staying until the console release happens?
Well, it will be. If you're on about, oh, I'm going to lose my menus and I'm going to lose the planetary tech, then yes, that will be going away when it's upgraded. Which, as a Odyssey and as a main Odyssey player, I'm not completely happy with, surprisingly enough, because, and this we'll discuss this at a later point, is that the performance isn't there for VR for me in Odyssey, and but it is in Horizons. So the fact that I would lose my VR setup is it's going to be horrible, to be honest.
Isn't that what they're trying to do? Is bring it up to par, so the bits where you are in your spaceship and you can use VR is going to. This is like spitballing here and hoping that this is what they're trying doing is that you can't do that yet.
No.
You will be able to do it in the future, and that's why it's taking more time, so that they can optimize and optimize and optimize. So that, yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is losing the crystal shards, because that's a really good place, and they don't exist in like little pockets in Odyssey.
Yeah, there's. Oh, go on, Sean.
No, the other advantage having Horizons still there gives you is if your SRV gets stuck, you can launch into standard Elite, or even if you are stuck in Odyssey, you can launch into a different version and get put back in your ship and or somewhere safe. Whereas if you can't, you're kind of stuck in place. Really,
I don't see them taking that away. They didn't take it away when they merged Odyssey and Horizons to be one. We still have the option to just load into space Odyssey.
So you'll think we'll have a foot non-stop option. Have
absolutely.
They said that, or
for those situations, exactly. It wouldn't make sense for them to remove that.
Well, I don't know.
As long as Odyssey remains a separate DLC that you've got to pay for, then yes, the option will be available. Because you've still got either Standard Elite, which is the Horizons version, or you've got Odyssey, which is Horizons plus the on-foot stuff. All that's happening to Horizons is getting an upgrade using the new tech so that people in Horizons and Odyssey can actually start playing together again. Ben, we haven't touched on, we haven't come to you about this. What was your opinion on what Mr. Braben has said?
So, I think to start with that, yeah, they've done the right thing by postponing the console release.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard some console players being positive about it and not really caring. Like, we'll get it when we get it, and when we get it, we know it's going to be good and it's going to be playable. And thank you very much, PC users, for being our beta testers.
Yes.
And I've heard other console players who are, I want it now and I'm pissed off that I can't have it. And I'm even more pissed off that I think I'll never get it. So, I can understand where they're coming from too. I don't think they're right, but I can understand why they feel like that. Overall, I think it's a good thing. I kind of agree with Shan that it does feel a little bit market speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'd almost say it's like David Braben's PA has said this rather than David himself. But at least it came from David's account. And at least that means that poor Arf or Sally or Zach or Bruce won't get all the abuse for it.
No, that's true.
And I think that's a very important and a very good thing. We'll have to wait and see. We just need... The thing that annoys me in some respects is I feel that Elite Dangerous as a game was going to be put on hiatus, essentially, until console release.
Yeah.
And by on hiatus, I mean no new features or anything like that. And no new development.
Mm-hmm.
And because I didn't get the Odyssey that I wanted, I had hopes that post-console release, we will learn about some of the newer, shinier things that we're going to get, and that would hopefully tell me some of the things that I'm wanting to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's been delayed indefinitely.
Yes.
But for good reasons. Mm-hmm. So...
No,
good news, I agree, but please tell us more still.
Sean, quickly.
Well, I was about to lead into what Ben was saying.
Right.
We were told, weren't we, on the interview we had with Arf, the one where he was totally honest several times, that there were features and updates coming after the console release.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is are those features and updates, are they coming when the console release happens, whenever that is, or are they still happening now before the console release? Because it occurs to me that the more stuff you add for Odyssey now before console release, the more you've got to develop the console release to catch up. So it's almost like you're forever chasing a moving target. It's almost like you almost have to say, right, okay, this is it for Odyssey now, and we'll put all our effort into the console release, and then we'll update console and PC version with the same features and stuff at the same time. Because if you do the PC stuff now, as I say, you're forever chasing the console release.
Yeah, I mean, it's this statement here. It means that they will see more game updates in the coming months. We'll continue to issue through the issue tracker, blah blah blah. But we will be able to explore and add additional features, content, and improvements into the game. Now, that to me is the important bit in this, because although Update 5 was a massive improvement, and I do mean massive because I was actually there before. It actually allowed me to start playing parts of the game I couldn't because of the frame rate. It does mean that there's going to be more stuff fixing happening. It's like Ben said, that the fact that after Update 5 came out, I was there thinking, well, this has got to be good enough in order to get through to the console release in 3-4 months time. And I thought Update 5 was an improvement, but a lot of people didn't. And yet again, it's kind of kicked the ball down to the next developer statement or whatever they're going to do. The open monthly development update. That's where people are going to judge them on big time, because everyone was judging them on Update 5. Although it worked for me, I think a lot of people said it failed. And at that point, we had a mass exodus. And then all of a sudden, they've now pivoted and said, right, we're doing Update 6 now, and consoles are on hold. Shan?
I was about to comment. I think it's terribly sad that relations between a lot of the community and Frontier have got to the point where we read something and we're instantly skeptical of it until we see it actually happen. And I think it's quite sad things have got to that point. I'm not saying whose fault it is or anything like that. I just think it's regrettable. It's kind of got to that point. It was regrettable and avoidable, but we are where we are, I guess. And yeah.
Looking through some of the chat that we've got about this, we've got FTM Cloud Atlas, whose thoughts Braben's words were pretty strong, just about as close to a public monitoring of the devs as you could probably get in 2021, which that's a little strong. Devs weren't the problem. This is according to Roger, all been on YouTube. Devs weren't the problem. Management and project team with the issues. Consoles being used as a scapegoat to obfuscate the PC issues. Well, to tell you the truth, I mean, I don't think the consoles could handle Odyssey in this state. Does anybody else think the consoles could handle Odyssey? Because I don't think so.
That's what worries me, because maybe, speculation, maybe the Cobra engine for consoles and even for PCs maybe can't handle Odyssey at the same fidelity as the PC can. So a concern I've seen on forums and chatting to people is they're worried the PC graphics will take a downgrade because the console graphics have had to be downgraded to get the performance up.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that experience when Elite Dangerous originally came out on console. It did seem that there was a downgrade in the graphics engine at the time. I think Obsidian Ant did a few videos on it. Anyway, Psykit, you had something?
Nothing than what I've already said.
Right, sorry.
Okay.
Must have misread that. Yeah, so Ben.
So I want to raise a point that Abstract Play made in Twitch when he was saying, what does continue mean in we will continue to give open monthly development updates? Haven't we been already getting these discussions? So what I think, and see if you guys agree with me here, that David meant was Frontier, in inverted commas, promised us a developer stream every month, and instead we got a developer forum post. Now, I actually prefer that because it means it's there in black and white for us to read, and the developer isn't being roasted over hot grills.
Yep.
But a lot of people also like to see behind the curtains, I guess you would say.
I don't think it's behind the curtains. They want to see that the game is being still worked on and that it's not going into maintenance mode. I think that is the main fear that a lot of people have. Psychic?
I think I agree with Ben that I prefer a written piece that I can digest at my own pace. However, if they were to go into and do some kind of produced content, I would prefer to see them vet questions and then have it pre-recorded, so that I mean, the last time that Dav phoned in and he was just reading through stuff in like vitriol and crap constantly in chat, it must have been really wearing for him. So to be able to go through, if they can say, okay, we're going to have X, Y, and Z, we're going to do a big interview with this person in the same way that they did the Q&As for Odyssey originally, because they took a lot of questions from the community. If they did something along those lines and then had a dev on to answer it, that to me would be better than seeing him constantly reading down the chat and responding to questions here and there. That's my opinion as well.
I agree with what you're saying, that reading a set of questions makes a lot of sense rather than just responding to live chat. The only thing I would say to that is I would prefer it to be like, say, a Reddit top 10 list of questions.
Yeah, like a Reddit AMA, something like that, rather than
a proper AMA where the community upvote the questions and Frontier don't get a chance to say, oh, we don't like that one, we'll forget.
They can do that on the forums. They can to pick the most liked questions and then make sure that those questions absolutely get answered.
That could work, I suppose. Although I'd still prefer it. I think having it on Reddit where the cream, in inverted commas, God help me. You know what I'm going to say here, and I'm cringing already. But in Reddit and forums that allow that kind of thing, the cream rises to the top.
Oh, hate Reddit though. Please don't make me go on Reddit, man. Please don't make me do it.
Yeah, but you know what I'm getting at there, and I think that's a good thing. And I think asking hard questions, Frontier shouldn't be afraid of answering hard questions.
But they are, Ben. They
were.
but
they shouldn't be.
They were, shall we say.
Yeah, they shouldn't be, though. I like to think we're nice people and we're intelligent people, and will not. We go and ask them a hard question and they actually answer it.
We're not trying to show them up or catch them out or something. It's just a question of here is a question we would like an answer to, because it helps us understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, there was raising an AMA that Star Citizen did between Chris Roberts and it was his wife asking the questions, which they used the Reddit style thing to get the cream up, and Chris was so obviously dodging a question, and his wife basically turned around and said, "No, Chris, even our daughter says that the people standing on the chairs is a load of bullshit, and this is not good AI. Give us an answer, please, to stop being a weasel." And I'm paraphrasing there, but only his wife could have said that to him, and it was great that she did.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about this thing is that they've now dropped the hint that there is actually more stuff coming to Odyssey. It's not going to be ship interiors, and it's not going to be the full VR suite, but there is extra stuff coming. I mean, does that get everybody's interest coming? I mean, they've dropped hints about power play, but I think all power play players will believe it when they see it.
I think that goes with anything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Frontier will tell us what they tell us, and they'll show us what they show us. And if it's a floating turd in space, then it's a floating turd in space. If, on the other hand, all of a sudden they give us a Merlin, we can go, oh my god, and Commander Thane will come back to the game.
No, he won't.
Oh, I bet you Chris Jarvis would come back if the Merlin were in game.
Oh, no, don't put the Merlin in game. It is one of the ugliest ships in existence.
It looks like the Liberator. How dare you say that?
No, it does not look like the Liberator. It looks
No,
like
that was the Imperial Trader.
Imperial Trader. This thing looks like the T-16.
I thought the Merlin was the three-pronged ship, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is a three-pronged thing, but it looks awful. Do you remember the T-16 Skyhopper that Luke Skywalker has in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Which looks like basically a squished up Imperial shuttle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no issues with that.
Oh, yeah. Compared, if it was a choice between that and the Imperial Trader, give me the Imperial Trader.
Well, you take, for example, what the Anaconda or the Python looks like.
The Merlin looks like an Imperial shuttle, Ben.
So I think that could look, really, really awesome in Elite Dangerous.
What, the Imperial shuttle look?
Well, that idea as a concept, yeah, I think that'd be amazing. We'll see what we get. And the important thing is Chris Jarvis would come back for it.
Dear. Yeah, it's I just remember the guys at Spider-Man Games saying, "Oh, we specifically put the Merlin into the RPG to keep Chris Jarvis happy," and then found it was the most disgusting, horrible shit they could have thought.
Yeah.
But
No one uses it. It's a tiny little ship, isn't it?
yes, Psych it.
Just Googled it. That's not been in my game. Not having it.
Yes, it's not pretty.
It's so bad that the Elite Dangerous wiki doesn't even use it. It just has a placeholder image. That's how bad it is.
It's on the Alioth one that Shan just linked.
It's an Imperial
I found
shuttle.
it. It's fine. It's hideous. It reminds me a little bit of those. There's the Soviet ships where they had three prongs and it used to go round and round and round, and it never got off the ground because it was really bad. It looks a bit like those.
You know what it looks like? It looks like when they developed it and designed it. We've got some spare polygons left over. How can we put them together?
It's a microphone stand.
Oh, that's a bit insulting to microphone stands, isn't it?
That's fair. I apologise profusely to the microphone stand that I'm looking at.
Dear, yes.
Sorry, Roger. Space Raccoons actually just raised something that I'd feel a really good place for this. But how about as a pre-Sidewinder starter ship, an interplanetary shuttle? To get commanders from their first experience on foot up to the station.
I want the hijack.
Apex Taxi, it's in there.
I want the hijack an Apex Taxi. That'd be a good starting ship.
What, an adder? I'm sorry, no. You will. Oh, go.
Yeah, but they're rubbish. They're rubbish. A hijacking Apex shuttle would be. Well, actually, you should do that in your ship interiors, wouldn't you? So that'd never work.
And there's no gameplay in ship interiors either.
No.
Sorry, how foolish of me to think.
No, that is very disingenuous. I think Arth doesn't realise what people are. I think, as far as the ship interiors is concerned, he was just concerned about how you get from the landing pad up into the cockpit. The problem that they've got is that Arth wasn't around when we were doing all the ship interior stuff right at the very beginning, so he doesn't know what the community knows at that point. And I think he's coming from the point where the old Wing Commander games were, where the first thing you would do was switch off all the animations between moving from floor 3 up to floor 1, which used to slow the game down incredibly.
Okay, at the risk
May
of
I be
being
evil, Shan, for a
here,
minute? Go on, Glenn.
if Arthur's speaking from a place of ignorance, that's on him.
Yeah, I think he is on that in this case.
Then in that, if he is, then he needs to educate himself.
I would still argue that there isn't. I personally am of the opinion that should that be a case, or should this be some kind of thing, for the most part, I would turn it off. And then that's a lot of development work that is taken up by a novelty. At the end of the day, for me at least, that's my opinion. I wouldn't dare think to talk about the whole community, but.
Okay, we're going to allow an evil, Shan.
Well, I was about to say what Ben said. Really, so Ben and I are equally evil this week. I think the ship interiors question would drag on, and to be fair, I see this whole. I won't call it spat. This whole divide between lots of people in the community and Frontier will eventually turn into the same sort of resentment about offline mode and DDF and whatnot. It'll be an ongoing festering wound, I fear, and how much people can ignore it or keep on about it, I guess, will be up to people. But it's kind of got to the point where I think it would just be a wound from now on.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I'll just reiterate this point because I know Miggles says something in the forums. The main statement was that Frontier have always said that they have designed the ships with the interiors in mind. The problem is they haven't implemented any of those designs at all, because thanks to bugs inside the systems. Thanks to bugs inside, I've been able to see inside the models, and you can see they put the bridge in the right place, they've put the SRV bay in the right place, and they've put any fighter bays in the right place. There's no internal maps in order to join it out.
I think the original ships were designed that way, as Stephen Usher's just pointed out. So I think like the Anaconda, especially, and the earlier original ships were designed that. But I think as they added new ships, I think that interior design detail was omitted. But as we can have a whole show for itself and stuff that we could do with ship interiors, not just doing the whole running down corridors bit. But I think realistically, and this is again fair and balanced, I don't think we'll see ship interiors in the way that we all imagine it to be. I think their view of what ship interiors are going to be is more on the aft side of things than on what people have imagined it to be, and I don't see it happening, to be fair.
I mean, the main issue that I've got with those kind of things is people do not realize how big these ships are, and the size of the internal size of an Anaconda is the equivalent of an aircraft carrier, as a lot of people have pointed out. And can you imagine the running around? You've got an entire aircraft carrier worth of map flying around a system, and you've got to track everything within that map. And it is the size. In order to put this in, I think I've said this before, the size of the update required for ship interiors is probably the same amount of development time as they had for Odyssey. And they've gone and looked at the two of them and went, and they've looked at the two of them and went, which can we get the most gameplay out of? Notice I said the most gameplay out of. And then they went, right, okay, planets and on-foot stuff first. And that's what they've gone and done. I think they've gone and done it in the right order. It's just the way that everybody's reacted. We might not get the later bits further on.
I think in general, without doing the design work for them. You don't need to share every single room and every single corridor. You can have a fundamental set of rooms that's common to each ship. You have your own cabin, you have the cockpit, you have a science lab, and then you have an SRV. You don't need a huge amount to make it varied, but
this lot will want it, Shan. You know.
Well,
you've already seen the amount of complaints that we've had about just the concourse. It doesn't matter to this lot.
Well, the concourse is just a dressed up station menu, really. That's what it's there for. It's just a pretty station menu. That's
what an internal of a ship will be. A pretty,
exactly.
not
at all.
Module change.
Not at all, because you could have a science lab where you have to take your samples and You can. There's all sorts of gameplay that you can do, but let's do another show on that.
Take the gameplay on to maybe next week's show or something like that, because
let's do that.
I can see a lot of positive gameplay around ship interiors.
I think the fundamental thing is and this is again, I'm trying to balance here for me personally, the gameplay around Odyssey and the complexity around it, I think, is quite simplistic compared to other games that have been around for the last 17 years. And we've kind of got a choice. We either take it, it's simple, it's basic, it's not going to be any more than it is. What do I want to do about it? Do I want to put up with it and think, well, yes, it's simple, yes, it's basic, but is it good enough for me to keep me entertained? Or do I go and find something else that does find that scratch that particular itch? Because I don't think it's going to get. I don't think they're going to add all the stuff that we have talked about and that we hoped it would be, and that people maybe expected of a 21 game. I don't think they're going to add that.
No, they certainly won't add it for Odyssey. That's for sure. As far as everybody is concerned, I think everybody's forgotten this isn't supposed to be a season. Everyone has worked in seasons in the past with, Horizons and Beyond, but they've said they're not doing seasons anymore. This is just one product that's coming out, and they're getting it out. What happens after that is, Elite will continue, but it won't be in the Odyssey product. I mean, does that make sense to people, or...
I don't know, Colin, because I think we were chatting on Discord earlier, and I was saying how in Half-Life 2, which was 17 odd years ago, how you could use physics to make the combat more variable. You could pick things up, bung things that stun them, or with the saw blade, chop them in half. There's all sorts of stuff that you could do with the proper physics engine, more than just pew 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 pew. And there's a level of complexity there that I think is missing after the Odyssey module, and I'm not convinced we'll ever get that for the Odyssey module.
Well, then, if that's the case, then that's the decision you're going to make, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I said, and that's what I just said earlier. It is a individual, personal decision about is that the sort of gameplay that you want?
Right. Well, on that wonderful note, I think we will move forward to the newsletter. So, could we please have that time of the week song again?
Store alert! In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. A store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert. Which one will you buy? A store alert, 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 a store alert. Which one will you buy?
There have been two store alerts this week. The first one being a Diamondback skin. Is it the Shatter? I think it's the Shatter pattern Diamondback this time. Just like there was the Shatter pattern Viper the week before. And of course, more skins for running about in. I think it's for the Dominator suit this week. So, yes, the in-game events has been... Oh, go on, Sean.
I was just about to make a comment on the Dominator suit. Doesn't anyone think the Dominator suit should be a bit blacker and shinier?
You can make it blacker and shinier if you get an appropriate skin.
Yeah, but they haven't really made a Dominator suit, have they? Because where's the chains? Where's the whips? Where's the whatever?
You want the Dominator gimp suit, don't you?
You know, Shan, I'd expected this from Ben. I had expected this from Ben, but
But then, you know, Ben and I are now interchangeable. We've kind of like morphed into...
I'm not interchanging anything with you, Shan.
That is just put horrible.
We are Shaben.
So wait a second. Do we have to expect some Lave Radio /fiction coming up? 'Cause I don't want any part of that shit.
Oh, God, no. Right, I would just like to take this opportunity to apologise for any horrible mental image that may have popped in your head while listening to this. I am so... Oh, I mean, I'm going to have to see a therapist now. Oh, yes. There's a lot of people going the horror. Someone's readying a quill. Oh, no.
Oh, Drew Wagar's not doing anything, is he?
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
What's our email address? Whatever our email address is, I expect them all to come in.
Are you offering to judge the writing contest?
I will judge the /fiction. I will read them out. I will read them out on air.
Psyche, you do not know what you have just
I am
done.
ready. My body is ready. Only Ben and Shan /fiction is appropriate in this. I can't wait.
We've got something already from Katiana.
Oh, no.
I've got it. I'll do it.
Go.
Read it out.
Shan looked lovingly into Ben's eyes and said, "When is Braben going to personally apologise to me for this indecency?" Ben grabbed ... Oh, yeah.
One of those, like, continue the story things.
Oh, I've got it, okay. No. We'll wait. It's fine. The next thrilling installment next week.
Right. At the moment, I'm looking for the sick bucket. It's around here somewhere.
Is that your next? Is that what the next line is? Ben grabbed the sick bucket, and
it's getting a bit hairy, isn't it?
Yes. Let's leave you. Oh no, we're not.
Are we circling back round to Ben's hairy nuggets now?
Oh.
Actually, I think we are approaching the hairy nugget time, aren't we?
Oh, Jesus. Right, I am going to move this on to the community corner because this is getting ridiculous.
You realise if this had been 6 months ago, we would have killed Sovereign by now.
Well, Sovereign has moved on. He has joined the choir in Visibule. So, yeah.
Is he like all the Jedi in the Rise of Skywalker? You hear the voice of all the past Lave Radio presenters.
Oh, God,
screaming out in horror.
Katiana's going to submit it to Commander Creations. Oh, yes, there's something that needs to be done. Let's see you do that one in a drabble. Okay, can we have some adverts? Break this.
Escape.
Want to tour the frontier? Travel with Colmac Reeve and our new fleet of passenger starliners. We've opened up the universe for a range of budgets. Option 1, luxury.
My husband and I like to travel in comfort. The new luxury cabins were like a home away from home. After all, one's home is a castle.
Option 2, first class.
We'd saved up a bit for a really special trip. The first class cabins were like nothing we've travelled in before. Really luxurious.
Option 3, travel cabin.
We won a trip with Cormac Reeves' monthly lotto. A travel cabin for two on a Starliner around the solar system. Once in a lifetime for us. Simply amazing.
Option 4, basic accommodation.
Me and my mates just wanted to hitch around the universe. It's so great that we have the option of getting a really cheap cabin to see the sights. It saved us loads.
And for the budget conscious and slaves, we have our cheapest option yet.
Well, I needed a...
And we won't sell any of those frozen passengers into slavery, I promise. Cormac Reeves' all-budget tours, seeing the galaxy from luxury to freezing tubes.
Do you suffer from problems with incontinence? If you do, then our pee-pads are for you! Yes, Commander, your very own pee-pad while you're out there exploring in the universe. Then you can go whenever you feel the need. No need for a toilet pesking back there and then having to wonder, how do they deal with the poop? No, you just go in the pad and discard it at your local station. Let them worry about the physics of disposing of sewage in space. That's not your problem, Commander.
Natural remedies have always been some of the galaxy's finest, so when we discovered a wholly natural way of slimming down and reducing your appetite, we had to share it with everyone. Harnessing the amazing powers of our native parasitic life, we've solved an age-old problem. Vega Slimweed has been used by settlers of the region for decades with undeniable results and significant health benefits. If you think that Vega Slimweed could be the solution you're looking for, speak to your doctor today. Travelling with Vega Slimweed ingested may constitute smuggling. Please check before your journey and declare yourself at customs for an internal search. Failure to digest does not constitute grounds for reimbursement. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, increased blood pressure and heart rate, insomnia, nervousness, blurred vision, restlessness or headache. Some forms of parasite may cause stomach side effects like constipation, dry mouth, nausea or vomiting. A small sample of patients exhibit full body paralysis, catatonic states and internal hemorrhaging. Parasite must be purged before pupation, else death will occur.
I could murder a cup of tea. Yorkshire Gold, if you have it. Double Yorkshire Gold. And if you don't have it, you're dead. Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
And welcome back. Now that everybody has calmed down,
have we?
I hope.
Is Ben having a cold shower?
Yeah, we're going to touch on some of the things that have happened in the community over the last week or so. First up, we have the disappointing news, or disappointing... no, I think that's a little unfair. Hawks Gaming has put out his general disappointment with the way that Odyssey has gone with the an article titled "How I Fell Out of Love with Elite Dangerous." I mean, I've had a read of it, and he has made some points which I find quite familiar because I've written posts like that before, but I'm afraid to say that I don't agree with them in some things. Anybody else read this?
Yeah, I watched the video on it, and to be fair, at the first part of it, I thought it was going to be one of these spoof videos, and this has a horrible thing to say because he emphasizes how much gameplay he's got out of the game before he got disenchanted with it, and I completely get where he's coming from, and I agree where he's coming from. However, there's a part of me that thinks if you've had these thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of gameplay out of it, is the game really that bad?
Yeah. I mean, I'll agree with you on that because he did say that, you know, he played Odyssey for 300 hours before writing his review. And I'm there going, 300 hours for a 30 quid game, or 30 quid upgrade, that's not bad, actually. I mean, you're going to get bored with it eventually, but...
Yeah, I mean, I understand the criticisms about the grind and the pointlessness of the repetition, and I completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I would have given up long ago before putting 300 whatever plus hours into it. I'd have said, I'm not doing this for 300 hours, I've got better things to do.
Exactly. But, we all burn out on Elite Dangerous at some point and then come back to it. But, yeah. I mean, a lot of these major points with the existing game, I think we've all been over them hundreds and hundreds of times. I think it's just a case of he was hoping that Odyssey would fix some of them, and of course, obviously, it hasn't. The other thing that we can talk about is that last Thursday, Frontier did something a little different. They did a Pirates of the Caribbean stream, near enough. Arth and and Bruce made fantastic cosplay efforts, I thought, dressing up as pirates, joining up with the code, and raiding as many NPC NPC Void Opal haulers as they could. Psychic, did you see this?
Saw parts of it. I saw bits of it. I managed to catch. Thursdays I'm really busy because I stream and then I have D&D and all of that. But I was flicking to it and watching bits and pieces of it here and there. There was and then he not only did he did like 3 hours during the day, something like that, and then he did another set of 2-3 hours or something.
Yeah.
This is off.
Yeah.
They did so it was Pirate Arth and Poundland Pirate Bruce at the beginning, and then Arth, Bruce, and Paul, I think, and they got Paul to dress up, and it was amazing. But in that evening stream that I watched, almost entirely muted because I was playing D&D at the time, right towards the end of it, they did this big free-for-all with a lot of commanders coming and joining them, and all sorts of like. I think they might have been at a conflict zone, but they've had like a load of commanders joining them, and there was stuff happening from above, from ships and SLVs driving around, and it was really, when we had Arth on and we talked about the sphere of combat and wanting that to be more visible, and them coming back and saying, oh, well, we were hoping that the commanders would create that. That was what they were hoping for, I'm sure, because it was such a spectacle and everybody was having such a good time, and everything that I've heard about that stream, and then the last stream that he did where he moved into his living room and played on the Xbox as well, doing stuff. I thought the whole thing and all of the effort that went into it was just top notch, and it really engaged the community who are wanting to still play and enjoy the game, and I was thrilled with it. And he was like riding high on the adrenaline as well. You could tell right at the end when I actually managed to have a conversation with him, and he was like, yeah, no, you want to go back and you want to watch this bit and when this happened and all of that stuff. It was such a good community event, and it needed it. Elite just needed it, and it was so good.
Yeah, I must admit, I spent, I think, the first hour of the first stream just putting as many pirate puns in the chat as I possibly could. I think I managed to get in an hour's worth before I ran out. I do apologise to anybody who read them, and I do apologise to the rest of the community that missed them, because you missed them.
This would be pirate puns with ARF. Yes.
Did they? Would it have been better if they dressed up in Dominator suits?
No, the pirate set was great.
No, God,
it was so good.
I think we're touching on some hidden desire that Shan has. It's these angels that are whispering in his ears right now, isn't it?
That visit to Gretna Green that did it, Colin. You got to watch him.
It was a nice car park.
Oh no! I'm not touching that one. Nope, not
That's
touching
what they
that
said.
one. And for those of you wondering whether or not Psychic would fit into the crew, there's your answer. Right. Right. In other news, LaveCon community channel, the LaveCon lockdown challenge for the buckyball racers. We've got some results in. So as LaveCon perceived, Alex Turner was running a specific buckyball, both in Odyssey and in Horizons. And we can give some top 3 results. Position 1 was Commander Sgur, under the ship name Driftfinder General. And he managed to do the Odyssey course in 5 minutes and 16 seconds, followed by Commander Shane Blackwood in his ship Emily. I was about to say Shane Blackwood and Emily, and that would have just set them all off. He did that in 5 minutes 29, and third place went to Aiken B and the Albion Skunk. Oh no, that's a fantastic ship name. And he managed to do that in 6 minutes 22. In the Horizons section, position 1 was won by Commander Shane Blackwood, followed by Commanders Manti in second place and Brewski in third place. So thanks to everybody in the buckyballers that took part in the event. It's always nice to have you doing that when we're doing a LaveCon. Yeah. So moving on from there, now, Ben, what can you tell me about this Fly Dangerous thing?
Okay, so this is a open source project that our commander's gone off and done, which is so they've gone off and mimicked the flight model from Elite as closely as they can in Unity. And then they've put in a basic infinitely generating, it looks like a fractal map of terrain, and you can enter your seeds and things like that. And there are some nice seeds that they've got, and they've got a little Discord with, here's some exciting stuff for you to go and do. And then you can basically, they'll put in race markers into that, or you can. It all depends on what you want to do. And then you can basically hoon around a extreme environment. You know, it makes sort of Pomash look sensible, basically. But it is a great fun place to fly around in FA off mode, and it even runs on Linux. I think it's just one developer, Commander Juki, and they've already implemented flight sticks and things like that. We've got infinite terrain generation. You've got free flight. You can record your races and things like that, and you can share them. There are time trial maps which they're working on. There's checkpoints which they've done, lap points, leaderboards, and all that kind of stuff. They want to implement multiplayer, and it supports VR. It's free. It's open source. It's cross-platform. As I said, it works on Linux, although it is unsupported. It actually looks fairly pretty, to be honest. They've implemented a little space station as well for you to zip around. And if you want to fly around and bounce off of terrain that looks unrealistically impressive, this is a lot of fun. That's what this is.
Okay. Right. Now, this next section, we're going to start putting in a new section. And we need the community's help. We need to come up with a reasonable name for this section. People have wanted to call it Noobs Nuggets. However, with all the best will in the world, that's really yes, you've already heard about hairy nuggets and things like that, so it's not going to work. And also, it's very similar in content to nuggets Nuggets for Nuggets on the Guard Frequency podcast. So we'd like to ask you to come up with this section's name, which is really hints and tips for the new players out there. For instance, Ben, do you want to take what we've had from Commander Anonymous?
Commander Anonymous has raised an interesting point that I didn't realize until very recently, actually, that we can filter our missions based on whether you want a material, rewards, credits, commodities, reputation, influence. You can just say what kind of reward would you like for this?
Yeah.
That was something I never knew for the longest time.
That's it. We're already getting comments in for in the chat room already. I mean, my personal would be Lave learners, but never mind. We've already got.
Works for me, yeah.
Yeah,
Is there a prize for this? Is it like a dinner with Ben or something as a prize, or?
No, there's a photograph of you in your Dominator suit.
Or to be featured in the forthcoming fan fiction.
Actually, I've got a bone to pick with Frontier about the suits.
You've got what to pick? Sorry, say that again.
A bone
I just
to
need
pick
to record
issue.
it. Thank you.
Not. It's basically you get a really dopey look if you're in like a Maverick suit. You have this funny kind of like gurn to camera on the image, don't you? You notice that you have your commander.
Yeah,
I've
got
a
that.
really dopey look, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, there's kind of a smirk, isn't it? It's supposed to be a half smirk. And the Dominator suit, you just look sad. Is that what your complaint is, Shan?
I haven't noticed. I only was in the Dominator suit a few times when I did the conflict zones. But I don't spend a lot of time in the suits like that, Colin.
Alec Turner has said hints and twits. Commander Payne, Elite Fresh Meat. Wheeler Towers, Dangerous Virgins. And Wintermute has gone with the straightforward Noob Corner.
We need to get these written down, Colin. So, Lave learners.
Yeah, Lave. Little Biggin. I've let that one through, but slap wrist.
Come on.
No, the suit didn't come with a ball gag, so Shan wasn't interested.
I thought that was the name for the
Wait, that's not the name for the series.
I don't think it's the name of the series.
We are workshopping two very different things right now.
Yes.
Talking about Shan Psychic, I think Alec Turner's raised something, hasn't he?
He did. As Shan slowly pressed in the plunger and they started to inflate, Ben quickly explained that this wasn't the sort of buckyballs he'd been talking about.
Oh my god.
How come I'm the butt of all things this week?
I've said but.
Did we get that? Did we record that? Good.
Oh boy. Right. We've actually had some emails. Oh, one thing that I should thank is that a lot of people have been commenting on the Lave Radio YouTube channel. Leaving a lot of nice comments. So I'd just like to thank everybody who's been leaving comments on the YouTube channel. It's always nice to hear from you. But we've had this from the forums. We've had Dexteel, who sort of says that he's a big fan of our content, listens regularly to the content, normally doesn't reach out to this, but recently the CM team have increased their communication / presence in the forums, and people are taking advantage of them in a big way. So, see the patch notes for Update 3. I was wondering, if possible, can we bring up the topic of forum etiquette and how to handle this gift of increased communication that the CMs is providing? I'd rather not lose it because we are taking advantage of them. Please. And thank you. Okay. Forum etiquette.
I think
Shan?
Dexio. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
no, I was going to say a guideline, or I like to use when I'm posting on a forum, is I imagine I'm talking to the person face to face in like a business meeting. So I wouldn't type anything. I wouldn't say to their face in public, if you see what I mean, because you wouldn't shout at someone, make a scene in public. You'd be respectful. You'd be nice. You'd be conversational to them. And that's kind of how I like to approach things in forums.
mostly harness.
Harmless,
not harmless. You're back
No.
on the Shamporn here again, aren't you?
Oh dear. Anyway, Ben, you were saying about
I was saying about something and I can't remember.
yeah, but it's about Dexio.
Oh yeah, so he raised this point before we had Arf's post on last week. So a lot of what he's saying is maybe irrelevant now. Although maybe he was being a bit psychic in that he saw some of this coming. I think general rule of thumb: don't be a dick, as we've already commented, haven't we?
Yeah. No, we have to also thank Commander Anonymous, who sent in a absolutely massive letter. Oh, before we go on to that, Psychic, did you want to?
No, I was just going to say, don't be a dick. It's all right.
Okay, fair enough. The Will Wheaton guide, as said. No, we've got to highlight. We had a massive letter from Commander Anonymous, as you might have seen, and they're trying to distract me by posting pictures of harnesses in the chat. So I'm just going to blank the chat so that I don't get distracted for some reason. Yeah, he's made a lot of suggestions that we can be doing to our podcast, including the aforementioned Noobs Nuggets. But also other things like tourist information, insiding trading, Critics Corner, which is a specific place for a good old moan-up in a constructive manner. I think that's Shan's department anyway. But we've... I mean, Ben, you've got a response here, have you?
I responded to him, but I don't think there's any need to read it out. I didn't want to ignore the guy. I think Alan made a good response to what he was saying as well, though. That we do need to. Oh, I want to find. In our opening, right, we go off and say, a shining beacon of hope, and I think that we as a radio show have a responsibility to be a couple of hours of fun in anyone's week, as opposed to, oh my god, we've got another couple of hours of moaning. And yes, none of us want to be shields for Frontier. None of us are shields for Frontier. Yes, we have to be honest and give our reactions and our feelings and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's incredibly important that we try to do our best to remain positive and enthusiastic. And we've had there's been a couple of comments from a few people saying, guys, you're getting me down here. You're saying good points, but almost buck up. I don't know. I don't want to say buck up, but we
you just did.
Yeah. We can sense that you're maybe a little bit down and depressed about things. And if all the community, if everyone who is and I hate this term, an influencer is being down and depressed about the game, then that's going to make the entire community down and depressed about the game. And there is a responsibility that we do our best not to do that without becoming shills.
Shan, quickly before I lose it at Mad Mopar Nut.
Okay, I mean, just to follow up what Ben was saying, I mean, personally, I try to be true to myself and what I feel. And if that's negative, yes, I can go quite negative at points, but I think we have to be true to ourselves and how we feel. But also, I like to think on the show is that we all act as though we're like a bunch of mates down the pub. Sometimes you'll be maudlin and grumpy, sometimes you'll be deliriously happy and silly. But I just hope we try and keep it as real as we can without putting on any fronts for anyone, really.
Okay, Psychic.
Hello, Corporate Shill here. Person who has been, I've been paid to play this game. I can say that quite honestly. That I've been given money to play Elite, and at no point during that time that I have been given money to play Elite have I been told to be anything other than honest about this game, and that is to be completely applauded but by Frontier. And I mean, when I have been doing sponsored stuff for Frontier, the game's acted like a complete dick, and I've wanted to shove my fist through the computer. So it's been very difficult not to. It would have been very, very difficult to have continued saying excellent things about the game. However, I just want to take it from a perspective of someone who has been paid to play Elite. That there's no we need you to pay you to do good things, and I think that should be applauded, or say good things even.
All right, so they've paid you to play the game, but they haven't tried to censor you to say, well,
absolutely not, absolutely not, categorically.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
And I don't think Frontier would do that, to be honest.
Yeah,
some companies do. I just wanted to make sure that it was clarified.
Can we share in your royalties then? Sorry,
no, hell, chuffing, no.
I mean, Apeman Can says, hey, super honest radio hosts, definitely not influencers. So, yeah, we've got no influence over people whatsoever.
Don't do as we do, just don't.
They have asked, how do we feel about space chess in social areas?
I want social things to do.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Play chess, but I want to go off and do the Macarena or something.
Yeah, we've wanted the emotes and a better chat window in the social areas. Yeah. That is definitely something which we know, and even the ability to sit down on chairs as opposed to stand up on chairs in certain other games. Yeah,
I want to be able to order a Lavian brandy. Damn it!
Right. Has anybody got any other business before I close out the show for the week?
Is there any more smut that I need to read before Colin closes out the show for the week?
Oh,
that's the question that we need to have the answer to.
I'm sure the answer to that will be yes throughout the next week, and I dread to see what people come up with.
Next week, I cannot chuffing wait.
I'm sure we'll slip it in somehow.
Oh, that's what Ben said.
Woohoo!
Oh dear. Anyway, right. On this moist show this week. Anyway, shout-outs. So, first shout-out is, of course, to our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio. It broadcasts on a Thursday from 8:30. Tune in at twitch.tv, Hutton Orbital Truckers, or just go, if you want the audio, you go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander who likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous. CQC, all one word. We're giving shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. So that hello to Loose Screws, Flight Assist. For the Spanish speakers, there's the Elite Cast, the Canon Podcast, Fatherhood Podcast, Squeaking Fuel, System Chat, Guard Frequency, and Allograb AM. For those that want a literary discussion from the sci-fi and fantasy books, please subscribe to the Data Slate podcast created by Station Commander Alan Stroud. Following this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd like to thank everybody for their wonderful contributions in the chat rooms. I'm so looking forward to what Psyche is going to have to read out next week.
Remember to lube your hard points before you psych it.
Always. what we need is a really nice, moist hard point.
So, I'll hit this. Yes.
I
So
bet our listener numbers shoot up after this, won't they? Who says?
Please don't tell me to shoot up.
Something's going to shoot up.
What is this classic show?
Yes, when things turn bad, we turn to smut. Yes. So, also, in addition, special thanks to Commander Tokuso, who created the music for the introduction of the show. So, thankfully, that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com, hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at Lave Radio, or you can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders can hang out and chat, which you'll find at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Now, do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 GMT and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, thanks to Ben, thanks to Psychit, and thanks to Shan, and special thanks goes to today's tech specialist, Commander Ventura. So, until next time, Commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. You need a safe word.
Space can be lonely.
I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
According to scientists, Uranus is full of methane gas.
I think you're right, though, Colin.
What have you done with Shan, and when can we have him back?
Galnet News Digest, 13th of July 3307. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Marlinists face crossroads. Boffin's probe Helix Onion Head link. Control schemes missing. Delays expected.
The time is coming when the Marlinist colonies, the political refugees from the Empire whose aim was to sweep away the imperial hierarchies and to establish a republic run along democratic lines in its place, and who were chased out of the Empire by Denton Petraeus and the Imperial Navy when a minority of Marlinists took to violent means to achieve their democratic goal. The time is coming when they'll need to decide where the future of Marlinism lies. There appear to be two broad choices, an attempt at reintegration and dialogue with the Empire, or the consolidation of the colonies as they are now, and a life lived in exile. What is unusual is that it's the political wing of the NMLA terrorists, the Marlinism Reformation Party, that is seeking closer ties with the Empire. Certainly, they still aim to overturn the status quo, dispose of the Duval dynasty, and establish a republic, but now they aim to do it through representation in the Senate. They already have a tame senator, Lorcan Scordato, although Senator Petraeus is likely to attempt to block access for those who claim to speak on behalf of terrorists. Perhaps a majority of Marlinists, including Amrita Ross and Jenna Fairfax, have come to feel that rejoining the Empire would carry too high a political price tag, and that Marlinists must concentrate on making their new colonies self-sustaining and secure from outside interference. Which way the colonies will choose to go remains uncertain. What is starkly clear is that if they do not make a clear choice, one that all Marlinists can rally behind, then Marlinism may rapidly become an irrelevance, and the colonies will be lost to stronger neighbouring factions.
With little support being shown for the Kumo Crew initiative to manufacture and distribute the new recreational substance known as Helix, it seems that supplies will reach not more than 10% of Anarchy systems. However, even that low level of availability may be of interest to the authorities if the rumours are true that Helix is derived from the narcotic Onion Head, the well-known psychedelic narcotic from Pan Am in Capricornassus. Declared illegal by Federal President Jasmina Halsey in 3300 before she started seeing invisible aliens and turned into a space hippie working for the Alliance, the Onion Head farms were bombed nearly to oblivion by the now disgraced Fleet Admiral Vincent. However, the drug cartels proved harder to destroy than the Federation had anticipated, and 3 new strains of Onion Head, the Alpha strain, the Beta strain and Lucan Onion Head, were developed by those purveyors of psychedelic experiences to thrive in the ecosystems of Celebara, HIP 11, 2972 and Tanmark respectively. Experts are concerned that if Helix is yet another variant of Onion Head, the 4th or Delta variant, and if, as seems likely, it will not be sold as a rare good but as a standard commodity in more liberal systems, then addiction to Helix may spread throughout the galactic population in an uncontrolled manner, leading to more hospitalizations than the galactic health services can handle. Onion Head and its 3 known variants have caused countless deaths, not least as a result of the Federation's bombing campaign and the revenge attacks of the Scythe of Panem terrorists in 3305. The Interstellar Health Organization is collecting samples of Helix and is expected to report on whether it really is a variant of Onion Head in the coming days. Their report will be awaited with interest by lawmakers, health professionals and drug users alike.
In an open letter to its pilots, the Pilots Federation has admitted that it has mislaid the Odyssey blueprints for the PS and Xbox flight control systems, and that it's uncertain when it will be able to open up the Odyssey permits to commandos using those systems. Commander Braben, who is known as the founding father of the Pilots Federation, explained that only 1 copy of the blueprints exist, and that it is in 3 parts. The document is useless unless all 3 parts are brought together. 1 part was left on the Aegis Research megaship Alexandria, which went missing on the 3rd of June. And by an extraordinary stroke of bad luck, the 2nd set of blueprints was left aboard the Scrivener's Clan Dredger, which has also, hopefully temporarily, gone missing. The last part of the blueprints to enable PS and Xbox commanders to join in the fun can only be obtained as a very rare drop at a small number of surface settlements. Teams of Pilots Federation researchers have been undertaking many missions to these settlements without any of this valuable commodity ever appearing. Work is ongoing to determine what's going wrong, and Commander Braben assures members that more updates, content and improvements to the Odyssey experience will be coming soon, with monthly communication on progress as they work on finding those missing blueprint parts. Commander Braben would like us to know, and this may come as a shock to some commanders, that the staff at the Pilots Federation headquarters are all human, and that they all care very deeply about those who've signed up as members. And he calls on members to be calm and respectful as they proclaim 3 times that they will never fly for the Pilots Federation again.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.
Nine guys.